Hey guys, how are we all doing today? So I wanted to make a video today about Tekken, about the issues that I'm seeing on Twitter because there's been a recent balance patch and I wanted to go over the problems that are being exhibited by players. But Moonsault's Day Apart, this really good video that kind of compiled all of the evidence that I was going to use anyway. So I'm going to do a bit of a reaction to this and go over why I think Tekken 8 is in a dire situation. Now, before anyone starts, before anyone says, Mike, you're dooming and glooming, this is actually not a sentiment that I share in terms of like coming back to the game. I'm excited to come back to Tekken 8. I haven't played it since Season 2 came out. I played it for half an hour. I realized I didn't like the direction that they were taking the game. I didn't like the character changes. I didn't like the absurd amount of power that characters had gained. And so I turned it off. And my thoughts and feelings towards the game were further validated when I went onto Twitter and I saw how many very knowledgeable players were talking about the game in a negative light and showing proof. So I decided to not turn it back on, but Fakaram is around the corner. You guys that have known me for a long time know that Fakaram was one of my characters, and I've become very bored of playing Feng Wei. Feng Wei, to me, has kind of lost his identity a little bit. He used to be a death by 1,000 cuts kind of character. Now he's death by 10 cuts. He's way too strong. I think he does way too much damage in his combos. His wall carry is a bit, it's absurd for the character himself. And I'm a Feng Wei main since Tekken 5. I've been playing the character for that long. And I just feel like I'm playing a Super Saiyan now rather than a character that pays respect to like Shaw Brothers films or like the old Kung Fu films that I used to watch. So it's something where I wish that they would scale Tekken back even more, but as they're going to go over in this video, the power creep situation in Tekken 8 is out of control now, and it started back in Tekken 6. Now, what I was saying with regards to Tekken 8 being in a dire situation, it's actually a twofold problem, and it's a problem with the community, and I am going to have to call out the community on some things, and it's a problem with the developers, and I put more of the blame on them because they should know better, but clearly they don't. So we're going to watch this video. We're going to go over some of the thoughts and feelings of veteran players, and then you guys can give me your opinions on the situation. Let me know if you think that I'm correct or if I'm wrong, or if maybe you see it in a different light.
Kudans never tweeted like this. We see Nee tweeting things that he has never tweeted ever. The fact that the greatest players of all time are giving these negative takes of the game, where they're talking about the game being ruined, it's collapsing, that speaks to a deeper level that me going on a rant could ever do.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to point out. The opinions of veteran players hold a lot more weight than the opinions of new players. And I don't mean that in a rude way. Nee's opinion holds more weight than mine. That's completely fine to say. He has earned the right for people to look at him in that light and take his opinion with a lot more seriousness than they would mine. But I've also been playing since Tekken 1, and I have a fairly good grasp on what the series should be and the unfortunate road that it's taken. Now, when I see all of these players complaining online, you see a lot of people saying Tekken players complain the most. I saw Sagem saying Tekken guys, they moan and they complain. And I've seen other people saying they moan and they complain. The reason that there is so much moaning and complaining is because this game has had a rich legacy for a very long time. And Tekken 8 came along and messed with it. Now, there were changes that were made in Tekken 6 that we thought were pretty radical at the time. But by comparison, it's nothing to what we're seeing now. Tekken's identity is lost in my opinion, and the game is almost unrecognizable to veteran players. If you look at Tekken from back in the day, 1 to 5 including Tag 1, and then you look at what came after it, although Tekken 6 and Tag 2 are, in my opinion, very strong Tekken games, they did introduce some things that rub people the wrong way, namely Tekken 6 with Rage. Tekken 6 is a fantastic game, but it really could have done without Rage, and I would go as far as to say that in terms of the numbered franchise, and not the spin-offs like the tag games, Tekken 6 could be a contender for the best ones, but Rage really holds it down. And Rage came in at a time when we were seeing X Factor and those sort of combat mechanics that were giving people PTSD, and Tekken didn't need it. Tekken's always been about pure fighting. We didn't need the super moves, we don't need Rage, we don't need any of that. And we've seen this power creep happening over time, which Moonsault Slayer is going to go over in this video. And it's gotten to the point now where Tekken has become unrecognizable. And it's no wonder that so many veteran players are going to speak out about the game, regardless of how many tournaments they win. I could win a tournament today. It's not going to change the fact that Tekken is in a dire situation for multiple reasons. Now, like I said, I'm looking forward to coming back to Tekken because Fakaram is coming out. But objectively speaking, you need to acknowledge the fact that people are not happy. My favorite character coming back, or one of my favorite characters coming back, does not suddenly make the game good. It might make me want to play it to try my new character out, but those sentiments are going to last only a couple of months at best if the game doesn't get its act together. And judging by what is going to be shown in this video, it doesn't look like the developers know what they're doing anymore.
I go on rants all the time. I'll talk about, the Karate Kid stage for an hour, right? But Kudon's knee, these legacy guys, when they call out something, it's different. I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 1, and I've accepted the flow of times. But I'm writing this because I feel the basic game mechanics are collapsing. 1. In Tekken, all moves and techniques are composed of frames. 2. Frames are time itself, the most important element that is connected to the reaction of players. 3. Commands that are easy, fast, and strong are different from commands that are difficult, slow, and strong. 4. The difficulty level leads to victory is fundamentally different from the easy and difficult approaches. 5. I know there are many characters and they want to make use of their characteristics, but to do that, you need to have a lot of understanding of the game. That's how difficult and complicated the game is right now. 6. It's difficult, but somehow we have to find the middle ground. Wait. This is pretty interesting. That happened with the release of Tekken 8. Kudon says, before already 8 started. Haha, maybe season 3 or season 4 in Tekken 7. Kudon says before. Now, what Kudons is referring to is something that Mike ATL also spoke to. But bro was talking about how this goes all the way back to Tekken 6.
Y'all think that they are just now taking those people's identities away. They've been doing that, but they've been doing it in a manner in which it hasn't been so blatant.
The concept.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely right. Mike ATL is completely right. You noticed it with Tekken 6 because I remember going from 5 to 6 and we were introduced to Lars and Alyssa, and they are a form of or they're a part of the issue that Tekken 8 is right now. Like they are the anime characters that we all associate with Tekken, and they really opened the door for Tekken to go down a different road. But it wasn't just them. They are the kinds of characters where when you talk to people now and you say Tekken's become anime, because it's been so long since then, they just look at you like you're stupid. What are you on about? But Tekken was very much centered around its martial arts with a few quirks here and there. And they started adding these weird characters in, like Lars and Alyssa, who, I will be honest with you, the game could benefit from not having them in there. I think that Lars has become more acceptable over time because, he's a Mishima and he's kind of cool. But if you just left Lars in Ultimate Ninja Storm, I don't think anybody would even second guess it. I mean, if you showed somebody Ultimate Ninja Storm and you didn't show them Tekken, nobody's going to go, that character looks out of place. Is he a guest? He just looks like one of the ninjas in the game, which is not a good sign for a Tekken character. And Alyssa is obviously way more egregious. She uses chainsaws to fight. She throws her head at you. She regenerates her arms. She flies across the screen. She's got rocket arms. And it's just like, I remember seeing them come into the game and I was like, damn. We've had monsters in Tekken before that are using martial arts mostly, and we've had demons, using martial arts, and they have a quirk here and there. We haven't had full characters spinning like Beyblades or shooting blasts in the manner that Alyssa was, and it did open the floodgates. But it wasn't just those characters; it was the general mechanics in Tekken. We saw them add bound to the game. I've never been a fan of bound or tailspin or tornado or whatever they want to call them. These combo extensions, these like dialed in combo extensions. I've never liked them. And again, those are things that I think Tekken could stand to do without. I don't think they're particularly interesting in the way they've been implemented. Maybe there's a better way to do it. I do prefer the way Virtufied does it, when characters bounce off the ground and the variations in which they do. In Tekken, it feels very simplified and like, okay, this is your combo extender, and then, do an extra hit and get them to the wall. I think you could do it without it. Obviously, we saw Rage come in. Like I said, Rage is very similar. It felt very similar to me at the time to other combat mechanics, and we all had PTSD from Dark Phoenix in X Factor and Marvel 3, so Tekken certainly didn't need a Rage system. And the Rage system evolved into Rage Drive, and then Super Moves came in, and now we've got Heat. And the game it feels like we're playing with Dragon Ball Z characters rather than like grounded martial artists that have a couple of quirks here and there or a cool transformation. It just seems like it's just lost control completely, and I completely understand why veteran players are like, man, what is this? What are we looking at here? Who are they making this game for? And I think the developers know that because there are so many changes that are coming in, but the game might be cooked because they changed so much about Tekken fundamentally and removed so much legacy from the game. Then now they're trying to revert things and they're trying to bring back defense and fix problems. The clock is ticking and it's not looking good. Regardless of my favorite characters coming back, regardless of Armor King coming back, will we have a season 4? I think we'll have a season 3, but at this rate, the way players are kicking off about the game, will we even get to season 4?
Is that Tekken didn't start simplifying and erasing identities in Tekken 8, not in Season 2, not in Season 1, and not even in Season 3 or Season 4 of Tekken 7. But bro was talking about how this goes all the way back to Tekken 6. Basically, it has grown to such a level to where everyone can now see it. But this has been happening already over time. I do think maybe in the Tekken 6, Tekken 7, Tag 2, one of those games they probably had a decent balance, but Tekken 8 is reaching way too far in the direction of simplification and erasing identities.
Tekken 7 had a pretty good balance. They had super moves in there which annoyed players like me, and they had Rage Drive, which Rage Drive for me was always like, I feel like Rage Drive is as far as you needed to go. You just pop the really powerful move and that's it. Now there were some Rage Drives like Marduk's which might as well have just been heat. I was a Marduk main as well, and that it was just way over the top. But in general, Rage Drives were mostly okay. I feel like that was as far as you needed to go in terms of like a super mechanic in Tekken. But it's bled into everything, even the general character designs. Like I've been a Feng Wei main since Tekken 5. And I picked up Feng Wei, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video earlier, because he was a death by 1,000 cuts kind of character. To me, when I looked at Feng Wei, he reminded me of the old Shaw Brothers films, the old Kung Fu films, and I love that about the character. I love that you poke your opponent to death. Combos weren't very good with him, wall carry wasn't particularly impressive, but his pokes were so powerful. Now, it's like being hit by 10 grown men. Like, you don't really have to poke your opponent to death. Feng Wei he's way too powerful. And these players complain about their character needing buffs. We do not need more buffs to characters. We need more nerfs. And yes, that is coming from somebody that has a character in the game. Feng Wei has been nerfed several times. He needs to be nerfed some more. Not only is it destroying the character's identity and it has turned me off playing him, and I'm just going to go to a different character now because the martial artist that I loved playing with is no longer there. There's now it might as well just be mini Shenron at this point. We need these characters to be scaled back. They need to feel like grounded martial artists again. They feel like Shonen Jump characters now. And people asking for buffs, you guys are contributing to the problem. And I'm talking to Lee mains as well. Your character doesn't need buffs. Your character, at the very least, might need to be reverted to Season 1. But buffs? No. We don't need buffs in this game. Not right now anyway. There's too many problems everywhere.
Bamco, is this a joke? 2-1-4 punishable and nothing on counter hit. Look at how the kick throws the opponent miles away. So he's going to do the 2-1-4. Correct me if I'm wrong, but at first didn't this do a counter hit knockdown and you could do a guaranteed follow-up? But now it does this super far away roll, which once again, you speak to Tekken 8 looking like a modded game. How modded does this look? This is so satisfying.
Yeah, the animation around that, I'm not sure how I feel. It's it almost feels like a massively powerful move hit you and you went flying, and it's just 2-1-4. Now 2-1-4 being punishable, yeah, I don't see what the problem is with that. Why would it not be punishable? It should at least be a 10 frame punish, just like 1-1-2s are. Why would 2-1-4 not be punishable? 2-1 is still a good poke. Throw 4 in there, throw in the little mix up you can do. Like, I don't get what the issue is. So gym players complain about that. You're part of the problem, 100%. And in terms of the animation again knocked away, I don't think you should get a follow-up on the counter hit. At the very least, maybe you could get like a bit of frame advantage. Maybe they shouldn't have given him the animation where you fly away, but you get to like continue your pressure a bit. But then, is it that different from 1-1-2 where 1-1-2 knocks you away and then you get back up straight away? Maybe they're trying to treat it in that fashion. So yeah, the animation does look a bit odd, considering what move is doing that. But 2-1-4 should be punishable, and you shouldn't get a follow-up on counter hit. At the most, you should get advantage. So Again, stop asking for these stupid changes, man.
And seeing Jin, the Devil Jin mains cry brings me joy. Maybe we deserve Tekken 8 Season 2. 1 month ago, everyone was begging for nerfs, and now they complain with busted moves was normalized. Ryujin responds to himself and says, old dev team and new dev team are both equally yikes. Nerfing Devil Jin and leaving the completely over-the-top broken characters untouched completely lost all faith. When does the Tekken community cry and complain so much with every single thing? Devil Jin is crazy online, but the players don't take online in consideration. They only see about tournaments. Who got that clip of Arslan blocking like 5 Zafina back 1+2s? This is Arslan versus another Pakistani player who's used Zafina, and this Zafina is using all of these like enhanced attacks for just like, you know, plus frame mix-ups, and Arslan just has to sit there and you know, deal with it all. And then once she finally runs out of heat after doing 5, she's still spamming that same move, by the way, but now she doesn't have that super amplified attack after, and Arslan can start to try to play some type of Tekken. So
That shit like that, like, what are the developers thinking? What are they thinking? Look, I'm just gonna focus on Zafina specifically because she was the character being demonstrated there, and back 1+2 is a stupid move that it should not be programmed in the way it was. This game like can have characters like Zafina where they've got a devil inside them, but the fantastical elements of the character should be displayed in the special move, in the super attack. That's why we have them, right? And we get to see the depth of her power with Azazel in the super attack. We don't need it demonstrated in the actual gameplay. That move is absurd. It just looks stupid. Like, I know I'm looking at Tekken, but I don't want to believe it almost. I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, like, what is that? It just looks stupid, man. They need to stop doing this stuff. It has become way too much anime. Way too much anime. And I like anime. I'm a Shonen Jump fan. But this is not the place for it. And when they did show those things off, it was always like, oh man, Kazuya turned into devil. You know, it wasn't the manner in which they're doing it here. It just looks so goofy, man. Like, and then away from the aesthetic, the general gameplay, like there's no consequence really for doing back 1+2. Like not a serious one. You spam it and spam it. I don't know. Does it do chip? If it does, why? The Tekken team don't know what they're doing. Like, why would you put something in a game like that?
this is the Dragunov move that they said that they fixed. This is the part where you have to question them bringing back the new dev team. There's no way this move should still be doing this. I think the whole...
That is so absurd. You know, I was talking to Del Walker. Shout out to Del Walker. He works in the games industry, so he has a little bit more insight than some of us. And he was saying that Tekken might be the most complex game to design of all time, like, or at least in the gaming space. And I can see that, given each character has over 100 moves, you've got more than 30 characters in the game. You know, you do the maths on that, that's already a mess. Then you've got all these systems, you've got a 3D terrain. There's a lot to go over, and with Tekken 8, they stripped away a lot of stuff to rebuild and make characters really fresh. And I think that was a massive mistake. Like, I respect the effort in trying to keep things fresh, but when you strip away something that is built on so much legacy, and you're like, right, we're going to redesign this character and present it to the public, you are running the risk of messing with a beast that you don't know how to fix. And because this game has had animations and playstyles that have existed since Tekken 1, there are animations that I noticed in this game from Tekken 1. I'm pretty sure King's Chain Throw, one of them still has like its Tekken 1 or Tekken 2 animations. But regardless, like, there's things that have been in this game for so long that stripping away stuff and like redesigning characters like the way they did with Eddie and Anna, there is merit in trying to do that and keep the game fresh, and I commend them for trying it. The execution, however, has not been great, and it's not a change that I particularly appreciate. I like the legacy in Tekken. There are things around the characters and moves that you can change that are going to be welcomed by the community. I don't think, generally speaking, what they're doing is a good idea. They need to stop tinkering with so much, and they need to actually start getting some proper testers in there before they release something, because Dragunov's roundhouse kick should not be doing that. That should not have happened. That is a ridiculous thing to observe.
community would stop this nonsense on my timeline if King actually got nerfed, and I don't mean nerfed to where he's useless, I mean nerfed to where he actually has weaknesses. The devs, for some reason, keeps over nerfing characters. When we say nerf this move, we want the move to be balanced. We want the move to operate like it used to. We want the moves to be fair. We don't want the moves to be totally useless, and now the people who play that character are crying about it. Why?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good point to bring up. I'm glad that Moonsault Slayer does. You always hear people saying you guys are crying, but they don't give a substantial reason why. It's no good you telling me you guys are crying. Okay, I'm crying. What am I crying about though? Did we ask for a nerf or did we ask you to break the move? Did we ask for a nerf or did we ask you to make the move useless? Like, there are two different things here, and I might say, I'm going to just use Feng Wei because I play him. I need you to change something on the shoulder. X property needs to be changed and it needs X buff or X nerf. And then you change the properties on it. You're like, right, here's the change. And it's the complete opposite of what I asked for. Now suddenly I don't have grounds to complain just because you changed it. And then some idiot is going to say, oh, the tech community is always complaining. Well, it's not what we asked for. And you, as the developers that have been working on this game for 30 years, or at least some of you, I think, you should know better. You should know better. I mean, sometimes we'll get changes in this game and we'll all sit there going, why did you do that? So the move is useless now. Great. I didn't ask for it to be useless. I asked for it to be nerfed. There's a difference between the two things. If I say Feng Wei's shoulder is only -10, it's only jab punishable, it needs to be nerfed so it's at least launch punishable. And then they do that, but they make it -30 on block. You're going to be like, okay, I said make it punishable. I didn't say give Jack the opportunity to charge his fist up so that I go to the Shadow Realm. And that's why people are complaining, because they're not listening. And when they do listen, they listen to the wrong people, so people complain even more. You have Nee and Kudons and Arslan Ash and all of these knowledgeable minds saying, hey, this is what you need to change. But Samantha267 said, hey man, Shao Yu's AOP, you did this and I don't like it, so this is what I want. And that tweet gained some traction, and then the guys in the office in their infinite wisdom are like, Samantha, she's quite popular, let's make that change. And then the rest of us are sitting here like, why are you listening to that person? Like, come on, man.
Why do the devs do that? Like, when you look at this Dragunov move, like this.
I'm sorry, just while Moonsault Slayer was talking, I do love it when people do this. I don't know if you guys can see it on screen. There's a user over here called C16621. And it's just like mindless insults. Let me read off some of the comments here from them. They aren't noobs. Noobs and scrubs just don't know the mechanics and what they are talking about. Right, okay, so Nee, Kudons, Arslan Ash, and all of these top players that would wipe the floor with you don't know what they're talking about. Kudons don't know what he's talking about, no? Okay. I would be interested to see how this guy does against Moonsault. Because people that usually talk like that, you put them on there, and no offense, they're like red ranks or something, and you're like, why are you talking? Like, what basis do you have to speak on this issue with such veracity? How can a casual talk about a game where they don't know the mechanics? Yeah, it's the same if you are at the same level of ignorance. Learn the mechanics and the game. Okay, so it's okay for you to say that to Moonsault Slayer. What are you going to say when Nee presents you with the same argument? Learn the game. And then old dev team was better and you are dumb again. How many frames are these moves? Can you count? Yeah, like, this is the kind of person where I would be like, okay, do you know what? Jump on Discord call or jump on the call. Let's have a chat, because I'm fairly certain that you won't be able to hold your argument up. Everybody is saying the same thing. Everybody's posting things and saying, hey, this isn't right. This is not working as intended. The animations are janky. And you got somebody on there saying, nope, you're all wrong. You don't understand the game. It's just hilarious.
It's just pure incompetence. The move was too overpowered. They nerfed it to where it's useless. And then in this update, they tried to correct it and it's still useless. Like, how are they unable to find balance?
I'm sorry, this guy's distracts me. He said to me, so why do you keep talking about a game you know nothing about? You don't know the game. You know what? C16621. Next time I do a Tekken talk, you are more than welcome to jump on the panel. I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings, especially because Moonsault and whoever posted this video is demonstrating why this move has essentially been nerfed into the ground and why it should not be acting in that way. And you seem to have a contrary opinion. So I would love to hear that. I'd love to hear what stance you take on this and why people that are speaking against it are dumb, especially when we can observe what is happening on screen and everybody's saying the same thing. And this goes back to what I was saying before. We ask for nerfs. We don't ask you to break the move and make it useless.
A lot of dudes here are complete morons that think what Lee received was buff. They literally just reverted things back to the way it was with season 1. That's not a buff, that's a revert. The only thing that got buff was the heat smash. Mogold says bye bye Ford 32. Atif responds to a clip that Hypebuff Gigas posted. Says, I don't think they nerfed this move. Overall, Claudio is still strong. So this shows Claudio still being able to wall splat with this move. And then what about the tracking on this? Because this move was one of those moves that the tracking was super crazy.
Like, why would you even put a move like that in the game? When you were designing the game, did you not stop and go, you know what, guys, this is not a good idea? It's just like, the Tekken team, like, what are you doing, guys? What are you doing? And you've just released a balance patch and he's still doing that. That move should not exist in Tekken. A move of that nature should not exist in Tekken. It is absolutely absurd that that got past testing.
4-3-2, you can beat 2 options spamming sidewalk right. You can still lose to 4-3 semi-hold if you try to sidewalk right.
And that's another thing that I want to point out. I am not saying that you can't beat the move. Okay? I don't want people to get it confused. I'm speaking plain English. I'm saying a move of that nature with the properties it has simply should not exist in Tekken. You're going to ask why. The fact that I even have to explain why is a little bit of a concern, but the reason that moves like that should not exist in Tekken is because when you have a character that has 100 moves, or in Claudio's case about 70 to 80, there are so many variables. And when you add a move like that into the game that breaks your guard and opens you up to do all of that damage, it makes all of the other moves very, very powerful, but also obsolete at the same time. Because you have this move that no one in their right mind that the wall is going to go, yeah, I'm going to move out of the way. Because if he lets go quickly, you're cooked. If he holds it, you might be cooked. If you think it's coming, Claudio's got a plethora of other attacks. I can't remember what it is where he like swipes at you, I think back 1 or something. When you have powerful moves like that and then you already have powerful moves surrounding them, you create this situation where you've backed up this powerful move enough, but you've also made all the other powerful moves obsolete because nobody in their right mind is going to move. So I'm just going to spam this on you and you're going to hold that shit. We saw that, I think it was Mogold. He spammed the hell out of that move in the latest tournament and it was so annoying to watch. Those moves, these guard-breaking moves, they should not exist in Tekken. Period. Okay? They should not exist in Tekken. They are stupid attacks. They are accompanied by an already powerful moveset, which makes them even more powerful because you're scared to move in case something else hits you. And it creates this situation where defense once again takes a massive hit, and the best thing you can do is stand still and pray. It shouldn't be like that. We do not need sparking 0 attacks in the game. It's silly.
Nerf Kazuya Heat Smash 2-hit tracking, but it's still pretty much homing. And you can see he's rotating, right? When you go to the right, he rotates and catches you. When you go to the left, he tracks you. They removed the tracking and somehow you're still getting hit for stepping. It's crazy how crying on Twitter over your character rewards you more than hard training to try and gap the character flaws with your skill. Unbelievable. The courage to buff Lee and Zafina when there was 0 need. Being a spoiled brat is greater than being a hard worker. Sad times for Tekken. Tetsu says, I think the main takeaway from this patch is, again, that the patches are based on who is the loudest. The majority of the changes are made based on this platform and the uproar. In order to fix the game, Namco needs to understand what made Tekken Tekken at first. Naturally, the next packs will include Zafina back 1+2. Why? Question mark. because everyone is talking about that right now. But there was still more problems that are not mentioned and that the devs need to understand themselves. The question is, what is Tekken and what made the game it is now, which is why moves do not comply with the idea of Tekken.
Thank
I
you.
really feel like the community acts like beta testers, which is all right since we are bigger sample size and it can help identify bugs and unintended behaviors. Nonetheless, balance changes should not mainly be based on the community, but rather their own understanding of the game and what is absurd in a character and leads to one-sided gameplay. You know,
Perfectly put. Essentially, to like say it very quickly, understand your game before you take on the suggestions of people that don't understand your game. There are a lot of people online complaining right now about their characters in a game where everybody feels like they're Goku. What exactly are you complaining about when everybody is piloting Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks? Your characters are extremely powerful. They are extremely powerful. There are no weak characters in this game. I don't want to hear it from nobody. And I ain't trying to hear it. Everybody with common sense knows what direction this game is going in. Stop asking for buffs because clearly the Tekken team does not understand their own game and they're listening to people that are making a lot of noise. The game needs nerf. It needs to be scaled back. It needs to be scaled down. It needs to be readjusted in a way where I don't feel like I'm fighting Perfect Cell all the time and I'm grasping at my balls because I'm scared that I'm about to lose them as this guy back fours me and I go halfway across the screen into an exploding wall. It's become too much. We do not need buffs. I don't want to see a single buff. Fixes, like glitch fixes or moves not working as intended, fine, if you want to consider those buffs. But I don't need moves getting stronger. Okay, no one needs that right now. Nobody.
game developers are supposed to have an idea of what they want the game to be. And the Tekken devs did. They wanted the game to be really aggressive, really offensive, but that failed. And now they don't know what to do. They don't understand what they should do, so they're just catering to the players, whatever their most viral complaint is.
And that is a huge problem. I told this story 100 times. There was a lot of people in the theater with me at the time. King Jay was there. Mrs. Playstuff was there. There were some other people. And this was when I wasn't... obviously, I've always been friends with Jay, but I wasn't familiar with everybody else in the scene. And I was sitting in the Tekken World Tour finals. And we were watching Tekken 8 be shown to us for the very first time. And there was a collective... Ugh, what am I looking at right now? And although the game is much better than what they showed us initially, it's very clear the team wants to go in a direction that for... I couldn't tell you why. I still to this day don't understand what possessed them to do that. And you might say, oh, you know, they wanted it to be more exciting to watch. You showed me that trailer with Paul demonstrating the new heat system for 2 minutes and I went, no, this is not a good idea. So they showed it to us and we were like, okay, cool. We're going into the Dragon Ball era of Tekken. It's going to be super rushed down. It's going to be super aggressive. And then obviously what I said on day one has happened. Nobody likes the direction of Tekken 8. Or at least nobody worth their salt. They're reverting it, but they've caused so much damage to the franchise. They've remade so many movesets. They've restructured so many things that the damage they've done is so, I want to say, cataclysmic at this point. That is there a way to save this game? Will there come a time where we have like complete harmony and we're happy with this game? I mean, no fighting game ever has that, but as close as you can get. I don't think it's possible. I think we're going to have to wait till Tekken 9. Now, that's not me saying jump off the game. If you're having a good time, you're having a good time. Like I said, I'm coming back to play Fakaram. I want to see how my boy is doing in this game. He looks like an absolute monster. But the future does not look good for this game. The situation looks dire, and it looks dire because the wrong people are being listened to and the wrong people are developing the game because they're listening to the wrong people. They don't know what direction to take it because they fucked it up once already. And because they don't have a clear direction, they're listening to people that also don't really understand Tekken very well or just want their character to be the strongest character in the game, and they're listening to them. And it's like this whole situation is a hot mess.
They wanted to make it to where you can't wall splat with this move. But in less than a day, Lars Mains found a way to get a type of combo with this. So he has that counter hit kick, which he can pick you up with. And the law players are celebrating this. Well, this law player is, right? That's 99 damage. That's 99 damage. This little goofy looking combo.
Get that shit out of the game, man. Get that shit out of the game. Law getting a counter hit knockdown from that low is good enough. He doesn't need a full cut. Look how much damage that did. Look at how much damage that did. And I'm pretty sure that's probably not even optimized, is it?
Okay, so this person says W patch. What are they going to show us? If you whiff a heat smash, you shouldn't go into a stance. You don't. What? You get it? Oh my god, this game is terrible. No character should be able to do that. No character should be able to do that. No one's.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would you allow them to go into a stance after they whiffed the move? I don't understand. Like, this is baffling to me. This isn't just someone complaining. If I was in the Tekken balance team and I had Eddie or Yoshimitsu or whoever else can do it in front of me, and they did that, I'd be like, yeah, don't have him go into stance when he whiffs. They'd be like, why? And I'd say, why do I need to explain that to you? They've whiffed. Why are they going into a stance on a whiff? That should be on block and or potentially on hit for some of them. I shouldn't have to explain why. You earn going into a stance. You don't throw out a move that puts you in a advantageous position because you're floating in the air now in front of your opponent and potentially creating screen noise. You didn't earn it. You fucked up the heat smash, so you don't get anything. Why would I even need to explain that to a developer of a game that has been around for 30 years?
Heat smash is supposed to track. We have an example of Kazuya's heat smash still tracking, but Steve Fox's heat smash doesn't track as intended. But his heat smash is so different and the animation is so long.
You see, it's like things like this. Like, how did this go over your head? And then you got this guy in Moonsault's chat C16 going, learn the game. Do you not know what good design looks like? This ain't it. Dragunov had this problem as well. When Dragunov whiffs his heat smash, he does the whole thing and he takes a lap around the stage and you got to run after him. To be fair, I don't know if they've changed it for season 2 because I haven't played it more than 30 minutes. So maybe that's a change that came in. So forgive me for speaking out of line if I have. But if he can still do what he did in season 1 where he whiffs the first hit, then he goes for the second hit, then he goes for the shoulder tackle, that is dumb. If you whiff the first hit, that's it. The animation is over. The animation doesn't continue because now you've got situations like this where Steve is throwing out an animation. He's already whiffed the first hit. No one's getting hit here. You're just setting me up for failure. Now, should you be punished for whiffing a heat smash? Yes. But when the Tekken team hears that now, they're like, oh, he means that punished for anything, right? Like, he doesn't mean a launch punish. He doesn't mean a 12 frame punish or a 13 frame punish. He means that I can unblockable him. No. I made a mistake. My life bar, 180 hit points or 210, however much we got now, should not be depleted from that one mistake. That's not what we're looking for. The development team does not have a grasp on what people are looking for and clearly do not have a grasp on common sense because this should have been obvious.
To where Jack can get the full wind up on this move and then bow, hit you. Full wind up. And if you compare this to Eddie's whiff heat smash, where they could go into their stances and kind of cover themselves, you can see that the Steve Fox just starts going on the journey. You have all the time in the world to hit him.
It's just absurdity across the board, man. Like, who have they got in there doing the testing? We are supposed to be moving into an era of Tekken 8 that is meant to be more pleasurable to play. This looks extremely frustrating, and I wish now I hadn't watched this video and reacted to it, because now I'm like, do I even want to come back to this? You know, I've told my community, come July, we're gonna play the game, we're gonna have some fun, but Jesus Christ, like, what is this? The July patch needs to do a lot. There is a lot that needs to be done with this game, and the July patch really needs to deliver. I don't want to see Tekken go down the shitter. I really don't. The last thing that I want in the gaming space is to see Tekken go down the shitter, but my god, are these developers trying their best to piss people off. Exercise some common sense, lads. Exercise some common sense. If Steve whiffs his heat smash, make him punishable, I don't know, like a 10 frame punish or even a 12 frame punish maybe, and let it be that. Sorry, I mean that as in on block. You know, whatever you want to make it on block. I don't know what his heat smash does on block. I don't like the fact that heat smashes, when you do them, some of them your advantage afterwards and you can continue pressure. I don't know. If you've done a heat smash which was going to grant you a lot of damage and favorable position, you should not now be the aggressor on block. So on block, it should be a 10 or 12 frame punish for Steve, in my opinion, and some other people. Some you could argue even launch punishable. And on whiff, make him whiff the first hit, so the other player has enough time to be like, okay, I can launch punish him here, or I can do a 10 frame punish if I want, or whatever it might be. I can throw out Feng Wei's shoulder and punish him and stick him to the wall. Not this. This is stupid. Like, Look at this.
My God. Oh. So Heat Smash. This is a real match, by the way. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell is this
Crazy.
animation? The animation's so weird. But yeah, like it's like the game is almost playing itself sometimes. It shouldn't be like this. It should not be like this. This is a travesty. This is an absolute travesty.
What is this that the developer said? For the following issue, on the results screen after online match, shortcut buttons, follow friend requests may not be displayed. This cause has been identified and will be fixed in the next update in July. We apologize for any inconvenience. There is no possible way that could take a month for you to fix. You guys have to be the most incompetent team I ever seen. It's actually saying that you have to wait an entire month to hotfix. My thoughts on
Yeah, they're not wrong, man. I play indie horror games, and these guys fix things incredibly quickly, or that they'll build entire stages very quickly. Yet you have to wait a whole month for a minor change like that. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if like Bandai Namco is like doing something to the Tekken team and they just have their wrists tied. I can't tell you for certain what's happening, but there is a level of incompetence and neglect going on right now that is slowly but surely eroding Tekken, and it's gonna get to a point where players are like, I've had enough of this. And it's not far-fetched to think that Virtua Fighter, if it handles itself correctly, could end up stealing away a substantial portion of the player base on this game. I'm sure that Sega is watching this situation and they're like, we're going to do everything opposite to the Tekken team. And that's all they need to do to capture the player base. If Virtua Fighter launches with enough changes to entice new players but keep old players, Tekken is going to be in a serious situation. Now, we don't know exactly when Virtua Fighter is going to be released. We don't actually have an idea of when it's going to be released yet, but I think like speculation centers around like early 2026 or like mid 2026. I wouldn't be surprised if RGG Studios, who produce the Yakuza games, who we all know are of like the highest quality within the gaming sphere, if they are able to release Virtua Fighter in a completely functioning state with the features of Virtua Fighter 5 in the online infrastructure, with a redesigned roster that is more enticing to new players but retains its old player base, and enough changes that make the game very like intuitive but also retains a lot of like the hardcore aspects, Tekken is going to be in serious trouble. And it's not something that I want to happen, because having Virtua Fighter and Tekken active at the same time is a dream come true for most 3D fighting game fans. We'd have rivals once again going at it, and you know, how's the saying go? Iron sharpens iron. You know, like it's good to have two competing brands, the same way WWE and WCW or WWF at the time were competing. It would be good if Tekken had stable competition, but at this point, I would not be surprised if Virtua Fighter ends up slowly stomping it out.
Patch 2.02. I am grateful for how often we're getting these updates, but kind of hope for them to be bigger. Some patches where we've gotten so far feel reactionary to social media backlash, which isn't a good way to balance the game. A new approach is definitely needed. There are some great changes to Claudio Lars, but no nerfs to other problematic characters like Asuka and Zafina. Why are buffs even happening to all the characters in version 2.2 when all characters are more viable? There's still too many moves, new ones added in Season 2 included, that are too strong. I think the following should be prioritized in future. Characters, strong aerial tailspins, and stalls, heat smashes, which still remain super advantageous on block.
Thank you, because I know somebody was going to push back on what I was saying. Heat smashes should not be super advantageous on block. They should be punishable. There should be consequences for throwing out a move that was going to grant you stage control, positioning, Oki, good damage, potential wall splat, potential wall crumble into an extended combo. On block, they should not be putting you on advantage. Like, what are they smoking over at the Tekken studio? I should be punished if I throw out a heat smash, and that will breed more intelligent gameplay from your player base, because they won't just throw things out recklessly. But what you're incentivizing them to do and what you're training them to do is to play like monkeys. We don't want that in Tekken. Like I always saw Tekken as the smart man's fighting game. I always saw it like that for a very long time. And I sound stupid saying that now because it's clearly not. You've turned this into a circus.
I really like this franchise, and I just want Tekken to be better. Stop chasing trends and balancing based on online outrage. Bring back the soul, the depth, and the identity which make Tekken great, so it can blossom even more. How many times have we seen a tweet like this, and the developers continue to just ignore it, and they cater to the audience of players who are crying for power? Why don't the developers see it that way? We can see it as these players are crying because they want their characters to be really powerful so they could get easy wins. But the developers don't see it that way. The developers see it as these players are bringing up real issues and let's fix it.
Yeah, that's because the developers of Tekken 8 do not understand their own product. So they're relying on the voices of the Tekken community, but they failed to recognize that Tekken 8 ushered in a whole new player base. There's brand new players that might like Tekken 8, but they do not understand the franchise. And I'm not saying that as a put down, that's just a fact. If I come into a long-standing franchise, like, I don't know, name another genre, like World of Warcraft, and I play a particular expansion, but there's 30 or 40 years worth of content, I can't sit there and say that I understand the franchise. I certainly don't understand it on the same level that some of these people that have been around from at least the Tekken 5 era, because Tekken 8, 7, Tag 2, and 6 are all based on the framework of Tekken 5. So at least from that era would be acceptable. You know, obviously I'm from the Tekken 1 era, and that is not really applicable anymore. Neither is 2, neither is 3 really. Certainly not 4. So 5 onwards, if you have a basis from that point onwards, then yeah, I think that your opinion is more valid. And that again it's not an insult to say. Tekken is not like Mortal Kombat where it continuously reinvents the wheel. So the opinion of a MK1 player is as valid as the opinion of an MKX player or an MK9 player, because those games are all drastically different. But Tekken has not been like that. Tekken has retained its legacy and it's been one of its selling points, one of its quirks. And so when you put Tekken in a situation like this with all of these new players and developers that don't know what they're doing, you've got this cocktail of tomfoolery. It's a concoction of madness. Like no one knows what direction we're going in anymore. And this is coming from somebody that has been cautiously optimistic in my live streams about Tekken 8 in the future. And now seeing this balance patch and how people are reacting to it. And again, I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about like minds that I respect and players that have been here for long enough to know right from wrong and how they're reacting. Again, it just sends like a level of doubt out to the community. I hate to make dooming videos because I was very excited when I saw the fuck around trailer. I was very excited to see all the balance patches that they were going to continuously do. But it seems like they don't have a grasp or a pulse on the situation. Or they don't have a grasp on the pulse of the situation.
I don't know. Maybe it's just too many people, too many ideas, and it's hard to tell. This is Nobi, affiliated with the party that blocks people whining about the characters on Tekken 8 Report. Originally, it was a place for bugs report, but at some point, it turned into a place for suggesting character buffs and nerfs, which is ridiculous. I hope they stick to crafting Tekken with their own vision without relying on outside voices. So this is interesting, right? If you talk about the Tekken 8 hashtag report, turning into something else, because it was created for bugs and glitches. But when you look at it now, it's literally people saying, you know, my character needs a 14 frames this Tekken 8 report.
It's so dumb, man. Like, they've abused the Tekken 8 report so badly. Yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked, guys. We're cooked.
Change. The developers have been showing the players that if you cry, we will listen. If you go viral, we will fix it. So players are just...
Well, that's not entirely true. Me and Blackheart went viral for the whole cheating thing to the point where articles not even affiliated to the FGC were writing stories up about what me and Blackheart were demonstrating to everybody. The post went viral on Twitter. It got a lot of attention on YouTube. I think collectively, everything put together, it was viewed over 1 million times across several platforms. Nothing. And Blackheart literally posted today about how they're updating the script for the new balance patch. So they don't listen to everything. And, you know, we made a lot of noise with that.
Responding to that, and they're crying and trying to go viral, and they're that hashtag, it makes sense that it is slowly corrupted and turned into something else because people know that the developers are looking at that hashtag. So if you go viral with that hashtag, that guarantees that a developer will see it. Today, many characters saw significant nerf to tracking performance of Heat Smash. However, wasn't Clive unaffected by the tracking nerf because he uses magic and summons? Honestly, that doesn't really seem like a fair balance adjustment. Please treat him the same as Tekken characters. This update was specifically for reducing tracking on Heat, and we have 3 characters already who still are tracking you in one form or another. Hey, see,
It shouldn't have the ability to hit you when his back is turned. I don't want to hear this stupid excuse of, well, he's using magic. We're playing Tekken, not Final Fantasy, Harada and Michael Murray and Nakatsu. Like, come on, man. If you're gonna nerf heat smashes and tracking, or you're gonna nerf the tracking and buff sidestepping and nerf homing stuff, do it properly, and then people will stop moaning. It's really that simple. Do it properly, and people will stop moaning. Don't pick and choose. You pick and choose, people are a bit like, why? Why did you pick and choose? And then you don't give a justification as to why. And then people are like, well, okay, well, we're going to make noise about it. And then you get the wrong people making noise because they see noise being made. They try to make some noise, pun not intended. And they get listened to. And it's just a whole, like, kerfuffle that doesn't need to happen.
216621. Are you just here to fight? Are you just disagreeing with everything for the sake of disagreeing with everything? I'm tired of you not addressing the facts of what I say. You have no facts to support your BS. Stop feeding me.
Yeah, you love to ignore facts. What are the frames on SNK for? You see, people like this are like they would never enter a live call discussion, because if you think that the issues with Tekken 8's infrastructure can be boiled down to merely talking about impact frames and how many frames belong to a specific move, you do not understand Tekken. Or if you do, these are terrible arguments to put forth. Maybe it's just something you're trying to zero in on here, but this is not a hill that I would die on personally.
Misinformation to scrubs. Hey, C16621. If you're interested in talking on Discord and discussing this, I would love to do so, because this whole like you typing in chat and then me reading your this won't get us in.
Listen, says you are a real low IQ clown. Get everything wrong or parrot vets while not understanding the game mechanics behind what they said. You cannot even count. Anything you scrubs refuse to lab to see if you can counter, you complain about. You deserve the toddler game. You sure AF can't follow me to Tekken 7 at least? I'd love to see some gameplay from this guy. I really would love to see some gameplay from him, because there's a whole bunch of big talk from somebody that, maybe he's a top player and he's just on a Heidi account or something, but yeah, he seems to be talking out of both sides of his mouth, to be honest with you.
Anywhere. So I think it would be cool if you can just actually like let it out,
Children playing an adult's game, then whining when you don't get your nose wiped.
And then we'll listen to you. No, you need to learn counter first.
Tired of you not addressing the facts of what I say. You have no facts to support your BS. Stop feeding misinformation to scrubs. Alright, C16621. Since you probably do frequent Tekken YouTube channels, or if somebody knows who this is, please let him know that Mike Hollow told him and has invited him to come onto the next podcast whenever I do it. And I would love to hear his position, his arguments, and I would love to hear how he deals with somebody pushing back on a live call. I would love to see that, because these sort of comments with that sort of confidence is always met with some of the most arse backwards logic that you will ever see. You have the best players in the world all saying the same thing. You have intermediate players saying the same thing as them. Maybe not as knowledgeable, but the same. All the same. And then you have someone going, hey, you just don't understand the game. No, we understand it perfectly well. That is exactly why we'll complain about it. That is exactly why people have been so harsh on Tekken 8, because they understand Tekken.
You see that? When you open the door for discussion, they won't walk through. You didn't want to discuss anything yesterday, hypocrite. You don't know how. Why don't you want to talk on Discord? You have a lot to say, bro.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you got a lot to say in the comment section, you should be able to say it on the Discord call. I mean, Moonsault's on a live call there. there's your opportunity to educate him and then educate everybody else. I mean, if you are somebody that cares about the game, and you obviously do, you care enough to come to somebody's stream, then you should care enough to educate people if they're wrong. You should be able to back up your points if you are so confident, and if you care about the game enough and you don't want people to just spout stuff out because they're scrubs and don't know what they're talking about. You should 100% get on a live call and substantiate your position. The problem is, though, is that usually when people are yapping about these sort of things, they don't know what they're on about. They're either new to Tekken, or they're just looking to be confrontational, or they're just trolling. Anyway, that aside, Tekken 8 is in a very, very dire situation because the developers don't know which direction to take it in, and because they don't know which direction to take it in, they're listening to people that also don't understand the nature of Tekken, and it's all turned into this big mess. And I am very, very, very worried for this game. I'll be honest with you guys. I am very worried. Don't want to hear the arguments of, oh, just wait until July. We hear that all the time. Oh, just wait until Season 2. Oh, just wait until they nerf Dragonov. No. We're going to deal with the present. The present is the best thing to do because that is what we have right now. July patch might come, and if it's great, fantastic. Claps all around. But it's not here yet. And none of us are Professor Xavier. None of us are, we don't know what they're thinking. We're not the Scarlet Witch. We can't bend time. We don't know what's coming. So all we can do is evaluate what we have now. And what we have now is a sinking ship. We have a sinking ship, and there are no safety jackets. There are no boats. Women and children cannot get off board. We are cooked. And as far as I'm aware, Superman is not on the planet right now to save us. So I don't know if someone's going to show up to save this sinking ship, or if the iceberg that crashes into them that is mere moments away is Virtua Fighter and completely sinks the entire thing. But either way, it's not looking good right now. But we've got a couple of weeks until Fuck Around gets this, so we will evaluate the situation as and when it comes. And we'll do a podcast and we'll invite people on to give their opinions on the game and see where it goes from there. So I'll catch you guys very soon. Thank you, Moonsault Slayer, for the video, and thank you all for the love and support on the videos and the live streams. Catch you all soon. Take care and peace.